Sky News contributor Kosha Gada joins us, former Labor MP Michael Danby. Welcome to you both. Kosha, what's going to happen in Iran, do we know? The US military, I mean, the build-up has been extraordinary. We've now got a whole bunch of embassies telling their diplomats that they should get out, including our own. They're talking about getting out of Israel, getting out of Jordan, all of those countries. Mm-hmm. Can we predict it?
If only, and I think that is the intention. The military fleet that the Trump administration has deployed is the strongest and most powerful that it's ever been in that region in a long time. Simultaneously, there are diplomatic talks happening as we speak in Geneva, being mediated by Oman. We know two things. Trump actually said this in his State of the Union yesterday, that he does not want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. That's a red line for him. Also, that he does not want to get sucked into a big kinetic quagmire. And so that's the balancing act. I think he's really trying to put pressure, economic pressure, diplomatic pressure, and hope that maybe a few strikes here and there will avert anything larger, but they are in position.
Michael, it's become about the nuclear capability now, whereas when we started all of this, it was about regime change and the slaughter of innocent Iranians, children, men, women in the streets, thousands of.
Probably 35,000.
Donald Trump doesn't any longer seem so concerned about getting rid of Khamenei or getting rid of nuclear weapons.
This may all be a cover. The Gerald Ford is in, I looked on Ship Tracker just before I came in, Steve, and it's in the American military base Suda in Greece. When we see it move south through the Red Sea to be off Iran, that's when the big game's on. Prime Minister of India, Modi, is in Israel. This is his second day of his state visit. So I don't think President Trump will have the Iranian missiles landing on Israel while Modi's there. So it's a few days off, but I think the Raisin Kane claim that he was for a half-baked attack on Iran is wrong, and I think the president will shoot the dice and go for a major attack on the military bases, the Iranian nuclear facilities, and above all their ballistic missiles.
An air war, presumably, Kosha, because Donald Trump got re-elected this time, saying that we don't want American boots on the ground in places like the Middle East.
Only air.
It's not going to be American boys getting shot and dying.
He's been saying that for 15 years.
So the Marga base would explode if he sent troops in.
Even this they don't love because they just think you're on a slippery slope that could lead to that. But he has shown that he's very happy to launch bombs, do surgical strikes in and out, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that.
So he will just use his air resources, presumably.
But in your comment then was a very revealing point, Steve. It's the MAGA base that he's worried about. He's looking behind his shoulder about whether American foreign policy is going to go in this direction or that direction, depending on domestic politics. So that's good or bad, depending on your point of view.
And at the same time, we've still got, we're now going into the 5th year of the Ukraine war. I mean, clearly Putin is playing him on a string. I mean, he's not going to back off at all. He had Volodymyr Zelensky on the phone, I think, in the last 24 hours. Zelensky saying, look, we're not going to give up territory. Trump keeps talking about the thousands of people who have been killed. I mean, while we concentrate on Iran, people seem to have almost forgotten Ukraine.
Well, multiple fronts, and that was famously on the campaign. He had said, in 24 hours, I'll end this, and, that's come and gone over a year.
Well, he kept saying yesterday he's ended 9 wars. I didn't quite work where 9 came from.
Putin's lost more people than he's put in recruits this last 2 months. So the casualties there are getting massive. The Ukrainians have developed drone warfare that they're now exporting all over the world in the middle of a war.
It's amazing what they've done.
And they've pushed the Russians back in the south, in Zaporizhia, where the nuclear power station is. So the Ukrainians may end this war by their own power, and because the Americans are not giving them any weapons. They're even blocking the Germans selling them Patriot missiles. The Europeans have to pay for all of this, and then they give it to the Ukrainians.
Do you think Putin's going to run out of cattle, though? I mean, he's paying conscripts to go and fight, Kosha, isn't
he? I mean, he has a deeper bench just in terms of the sheer number and the population of that country, and we've always talked about this, the strategic asymmetry. If he feels this is existential, he can find a lot more juice in the can. At some point, everybody has their limit, but this is much more strategically important to him.
But if he has to call mobilisation of young men in St. Petersburg and Moscow, he's in real trouble, because that's the elite and they don't want to go to war.
Let's talk about this amazing speech that happened yesterday. You were on the Sky panel, so you sat through the whole thing. I wasn't on the panel. I was at home and I still sat through it. I couldn't take my eyes off it. He talked the country up. I mean, his enthusiasm about the economy and how the share market's on fire and America's the hottest country in the world at the moment. Is it?
Look, he's a showman and he's great at giving speeches, and very few people, as you say, can command attention for almost 2 hours the way he can, and never gets old. He is, in terms of polling, a little bit underwater right now, especially on the economy. Fairly or unfairly, things take time to turn around, and it is not trickling down into the pocketbooks of the everyday person, and he knows that. And back to our earlier discussion, there is this perception that he is spending too much time on foreign policy. That's the world he inherited, and not enough on domestic.
Well, that's probably why
policy.
he wanted to concentrate on local issues. Let's have a look at that, where he compares his presidential, the advantages that he's given Americans to what the Democrats did.
You've seen nothing yet. We're going to do better and better and better. This is the golden age of America. When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police. After just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages.
Michael, the golden age of America, I would have thought that might have been the 50s and the 60s, but Donald Trump's claiming it. Is he right?
I think John F. Kennedy in 1963, before the assassination, was the golden era. But the economy is doing well in some sectors. The problem for him is his opposition is motivated, and it's a voluntary voting system in the United States. And the heavy-handedness in Minneapolis has motivated a lot of Democrats against their deportation policy, even though the same people are in favour of getting rid of criminals who are illegal aliens. So he's going to the test will be the midterms that are coming up. And at the moment, as Kosha said, because of the polling, it doesn't look like he's going to win that. So they're going to really have to put him out front with that message, and you make a choice in your local election, Donald Trump or someone else.
Well, I saw Kosha yesterday that his chief of staff has said that we want Donald Trump front and centre during these midterm elections because we want people to vote to have him as, it's almost like a quasi-presidential election.
It's tricky because history shows when he is not on the ballot, Republicans don't do as well. There is a Republican factor, but it's really the Trump factor. And he's not on the ballot, even though they're going to try to do that. But I think the argument they're going to make, certainly to the Republican base, is he is on the ballot insofar as if they lose the House, the Republicans, it will be 2 years of impeachment and his entire agenda will be stalled, and everybody knows it. So in that, I think that's the story they're going to sell.
The whole lame duck argument.
Yeah, and worse, they're going to try to impeach him, make no mistake.
He made one great point yesterday that he said, and I haven't fact-checked this, so I'm not sure if it's right, that 100% of the jobs that have been created in the last 12 months were in the private sector, Michael, as opposed to Australia, where we're creating 100% of our jobs in the public sector by fattening up the public service.
And 50% of people against Paul Keating and Bob Hawke's wishes are now on taking government receipts. So that's the difference between the two societies. He has shed a lot of federal government jobs too, which he would say is cost savings for the American taxpayer.
Well, I wish that we could have a budget speech like that in Australia, but I don't think Jim Chalmers is quite up to Donald Trump.
No.
Thank you both for coming in. Appreciate it very much.